Good morning. Welcome to Living Truth 365. I am Reverend Terry Thompson, and I'm going to be your speaker, your journey and truth guide for the day. As I do each time we come together, I'd like to remind you that you are living truth, a unique, individualized expression of God. And it's when you recognize your oneness with God, which is all that there is, that you are indeed living truth. And that really goes along with our talk for today. We're opening up the month of March, which in the Unity tradition is the month of strength. But here at Living Truth 65, in addition to observing the traditional New Thought spiritual faculties, we're also having our own keys that we're introducing and that we're observing and learning about. Now this month, our key for the month is health. And I had to ask myself when Reverend Sharon asked me to do health, what am I going to do with health? I know the basics of health, but I am not really a guru when it comes to health, especially when we talk about physical health and how to eat right and things like that. I mean, I live a fairly balanced life, but there's a lot that I have to learn. And so when I took a look at this, I decided that I would talk about it not only from a physical perspective, but from a spiritual and metaphysical perspective. Now, I'm going to invite you to come back, for those of you that may be listening to us or that may be watching this later on, to know that we've got something that we're going to be doing to address the things where I am a bit deficient when it talks about health, that we'll be having a health and wellness workshop conducted by Reverend Sandy Rogers. That's going to be on March 9th, and we're going to be doing that via Zoom. There's a $10 workshop fee, so that's my shameless plug to get you involved. This is a barrier-breaking event. And 2024 is about us helping you and with ourselves to break our barriers, to push past those things that are preventing us from living life abundantly every day and every way. And so my lesson is tailored around how we can do that with our health. And I want to talk with you a bit about health and what it means and the different aspects of health to make sure that when you think about health, you're not just focused on one thing, but that you are looking at health from a holistic, complete point of view. So I'd like to start out by taking a look at a definition of health so that we can have something that we agree on. So health, I took a look and Googled the online dictionary. The online dictionary at Google says that health is a noun that means the state of being free from injury and illness. And I think that for many of us, when we talk about health, we think about physical health. And in fact, in the early days of the New Thought movement, a lot of what health was about, or about what attracted people to the New Thought movement, was the idea of health and being healed from different things that were bothering them. When you look at some of the early founders of New Thought, like the Fillmores, for example, Myrtle Fillmore was experiencing health challenges, and she was exposed to Emma Curtis Hopkins and other healers that helped her to find healing through natural spiritual means. Charles Fillmore himself was initially a skeptic. He didn't believe that this stuff worked until he saw the impact that it had on his wife. And he became involved with the movement and helped to build a lot of what we know as New Thought today. Fillmore himself had various physical challenges that he had to deal with. He had one leg that was a bit shorter than the other, and it was painful for him, and it bothered him for a good part of his life. At some point, he met a chiropractor. Now, I want you to listen carefully to what I'm saying, because in New Thought, we're open to other traditions helping us to find ways to heal, ways for us to do the things that we need to do. Other modalities besides just prayer, which people think about, that can have an impact on our health and an impact on our lives. So he went to see this chiropractor. The chiropractor helped to pop that joint back into place. You see, he had dislocated his hip when he had a skating accident as a child. And that was what kept that leg from growing properly and from being the same length as the other. Chiropractor did his work, and then after that, Fillmore worked on blessing that leg and working with it, so that by the time that he transitioned, I think he was about 96 years old. those legs were about of equal length. That it went from the leg being ashy and kind of deformed looking, that it actually had that fleshy pink kind of a texture to it or look to it, that it worked the same way as the other. So we're going to come up with a little bit of a definition for health, a different one that will work for us because, like I said, health is not just physical, it's the complete person. The World Health Organization, in their constitution in 1948, decided that they were going to define health as the total well-being of physical, mental, and social well-being. So I'd like to expand that a little bit further and make it even more complete. And Emmanuel, I'm going to have you to put up that slide for the 5 aspects of health. So we're going to define health as physical, mental, social, emotional, and one more, financial. Those things all work together for us, and if we're out of balance in any of those one areas, it impacts us in other areas, especially with our physical health. We know in New Thought that the body and the mind are one, and that what you reflect in your body and what you reflect in your physical environment is a manifestation of what's on the inside. And so as we do our work, we can see the results of what's going on in our world from where we are on the inside with what manifests around us. Reverend Sharon has a saying, your life tells on you. And if you're not experiencing the health in your physical bodies, in your relationship, in your emotions, in your spiritual life, in your finances, then there is something that needs to be healed, and there's work that you need to do, and that work must start on the inside. Because there are 2 creations. The first happens on the inside mentally, and the second one happens in the physical. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to talk to you about 5 components of health. Doesn't mean that this is complete and total, but these are 5 areas that you can concentrate on. That again, these are interrelated. They all work together, and they work toward helping us to recognize and to express health in the different areas of our lives, of our life. Before we do that, however, I'd like to give you our anchor scripture. Our anchor scripture is coming from Genesis 1:26, and it reads, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the wild beasts of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." Now I know some of you are saying, well, Reverend Terry, that's a good scripture, but what's that got to do with health? I'm glad you asked that question if you did, because it gets to the crux of who we are as spiritual beings. You see, if we recognize and if we accept this scripture as being true, that means if we are made in the image and likeness of God, that we are spirit. And that as spirit, whatever is true of God is true of us. And so if God is perfect health, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in my talk, if God is health and healing and prosperity and every good thing that we can desire, we are that thing too. The question is whether or not we recognize it and whether we're living truth the way that I mentioned it when I say that you are living truth, a unique individualized expression of God. And that it's when you recognize your oneness with God, that oneness with God is what helps you to understand and to express and to demonstrate the health that is your birthright, that you are indeed living truth. And that works in all areas of our lives. Each of those areas that I mentioned, in your physical health, mental and emotional health, with your relationships, and in your finances. You have the ability as a spiritual being to be healthy and whole in each of those areas, and to be able to express that in your life as the divine individual that you truly are. And so I'd like to move on to the process of health and to show you how these areas work together. Like I said, they're interconnected. The process of health begins with 5 areas. There's diet, there's exercise, there's fasting, rest, and healing. And these areas work together in a process that I have as a linear process, but they all kind of work together, not necessarily linearly, but holistically in the things that we do. So you can look at the diet as what we take into our lives, what we consume, its inputs. Excuse me. Exercise is what we do. That's the output, the things that you see. Fasting is also elimination. We've got to eliminate certain things from our lives. You know, when we eat, we go to the bathroom, we eliminate things that we no longer need. Then there's rest, whether we're getting adequate rest, because that's where the rebuilding takes place. That's where the process runs itself. That's where we experience healing. And healing itself is the result of what's natural for us when we are in alignment with these other 4 aspects. So I'm going to go and talk about each one of these individually and discuss a little bit about how they impact us physically, but also in the other areas of our lives, and how we as spiritual beings can use natural principle to make these things work for ourselves. So let's start first with diet. Diet is what you consume. There's an old saying that you become what you eat. So we take in different things that we eat when we eat foods, and you have to ask yourself, when I am eating, or what I am eating, is it nutritious? Is it balanced? Is the food that I'm eating building me up, or is it tearing me down? You know, with all the different advances that we've had in our lives, and technology is wonderful, our lives seem to be getting faster and faster and faster. And there are things that we're doing that aren't really the best for our health. There are so many of us that are eating fast foods, that are cutting corners, that we're not eating the types of things that we need to do, that they're processed foods, that they don't have the nutrition, that we're eating empty calories, and we're finding that we're heavier, we have more weight on us, and we're not as healthy as we used to be. And so I'd ask you to take a look at your diet, and this doesn't mean that you have to become a vegetarian or a vegan or anything like that, although it's nothing wrong with any of those lifestyles. I'm asking you to take a look at what works for you and ask yourself, are you getting the things that you need from your diet that are going to help you to be healthy, that are going to help you to heal yourself? And it's not just the physical foods that we consume. Ask yourself, what am I consuming with my mind? Am I watching and listening to things that are keeping me upset, that are making me angry, that are just regurgitating things over and over again and making me feel guilty, making you feel resentful? What is it that you're consuming? What is it that you're consuming with what you watch, with what you read, with people that you're around? Are you in toxic environments where the people that you partake with, that you have interactions with, influence are those people having on you? What thoughts are they planting in your consciousness that are going to express in your physical world? And so we have to take a look at what it is that we're eating and make sure that the things that we are consuming are healthy for us, for our minds, our bodies, and for our emotions. And then when it comes to your finances, what are you spending your money on? What are your thoughts when it comes to money? Are your thoughts that money is hard to come by, that the deck is stacked against you? Or do you consume a diet that's going to have you affirming for yourself that there's plenty to go around, and that you are prosperous, healthy, and whole? That you have all the money that you need to take care of what you need to do? Are you handling your finances in a way that are showing that you are being a good steward of your money and making the most out of it? And so after diet, we have exercise. Exercise is physical activity, and that exercise will help us to build strength, to build muscle, to build flexibility and stamina. And it's when you don't exercise that the parts of your body start to deteriorate. You don't lose them, but rather they become weaker and weaker. And so we have to ask ourselves, what am I exercising in my life? What am I doing? Am I doing things that are supporting my health? You know, we get so busy with what it is that we're doing, with trying to keep up with life, with all the different things that are happening. The technology is keeping us busy. We're constantly on our phones, or we're watching YouTube or Netflix or whatever it is that you watch, that we don't take time out to take care of our bodies, to take care of the things that help to keep us healthy, those activities that help us to strengthen ourselves and to be flexible and to have endurance. And so as you're taking a look at the things that you do to exercise, ask yourself, what kind of exercising am I doing? Am I only focusing on one area if I'm doing anything at all? Or am I doing things that are going to bring balance and flexibility and strength and endurance? Are we working with spiritual principle in a way that we know that regardless of what it is that happens, that we have spiritual strength to be able to meet whatever challenges we need to do? Are you exercising your faith? Or when a situation comes up, do you immediately crumble and have fear and say that this is not going to work? You know, it's because of faith that we're able to do the things that we need to do. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that you are here for a purpose and that you are a divine expression of spirit? Or do you believe that, as many Christian denominations teach, that you are the dirt of the earth, that you're a sinful creature, and that this has an impact on you and on your health? You know, I mentioned about the early New Thought people, and one of the things that they found is that people were so afraid of this idea of sin and burning in hell for all eternity that it was having an impact on their physical health. Now, in New Thought, we say that sin is missing the mark. You know, it's just error thinking. And I think sometimes that we minimize that error thinking when we try to not make it such a big deal about people dying and going to hell. Because I know I don't want to die and go to hell and burn it for all eternity. And I don't think any of you would like that idea either. But in truth, we know that there is no place after death where we're going to burn for eternity. If we're going to be in hell, we're going to be in hell right now in this expression. And we're going to experience hellish experiences until we change our circumstances. And that's where the dominion part comes in, where I talked about Genesis 1:26. Not only are we made in the image and likeness of spirit, that's only part of it. We have to exercise dominion over our lives. We have the ability as spiritual beings to exercise our will, our faculty of will, to choose what it is that we're going to partake with the foods that we eat, with the expressions that we express, with how we exercise, with what it is that we do. We have the ability to make relationships with people that will be supportive and to eliminate those from our lives, or at least keep them at a distance, those that tear us down. It is a philosophy and a way of thinking that means that you are responsible for the results that you experience in your life. Now, responsibility is different than blame. Blame is a way of saying it's your fault that this happened. Responsibility means that you are response-able. It means that you're not stuck in circumstances. You don't have to deny that the circumstances are true. You deny that the circumstances have power over you, to control you and to make you be what someone else wants you to be. You have the ability to be response-able, to decide how you're going to respond from a spiritual perspective, and what it is that's going to help you be that divine, perfect expression of spirit that you truly are. So here's another shameless plug that works with our exercise. We're going to be walking on Sunday, March 17th, 2024, in the Lustgarten Pancreatic Cancer Research Walk. It's a way for us to raise money, and it's also a way for you to exercise and to work with your health. It's a 5K walk. and you get to be out with people who are like-minded, who are enjoying life, and who are doing things not only for somebody else that's good, but doing something good for the body. This is another barrier-breaking experience that we're having for this month, and I encourage each and every one of you to come and get involved with it and to come walk with us. Come on and get your walk on. Get yourself out and get some exercise. Be a part of our team and help us to raise funds for this Lustgarten walk. We have a goal of raising $1,000 this year. I think last year we topped over $750, so we're trying to do a little bit better this year. And we can do that with your help. We can do that with your involvement. And as I said, it'll be something that you help to do for somebody else while you're helping yourself. All right, so the next part that I want to go into is fasting. Which is our way of eliminating things from our lives that don't serve us. So we talked about fasting last month. That was our key for last month, where we work with denials, where we released and let go of the things that weren't serving us. Fasting is a way for us to purify our minds and our bodies for those things that don't work for us. It's a way of us eliminating from our lives those experiences, those people, those foods that are tearing us down, those things that are not working for us. And as we fast and eliminate from our lives the things that don't work for us, we create room. We create space for us to have the things that we truly desire to have. So ask yourself, are there things in my life that I need to let go of? Are there things in my life that maybe at one time that they served me and served me well, but they no longer serve me now, that it's time to let go of? We're going to be doing an eyeglass drive and collecting old computers. And for some of us, we've got a lot of clutter and old eyeglasses, computers, and just a bunch of different things that we don't need anymore, haven't worn in 10, 15 years, some of them, but we're still hanging on to them. Why are we hanging on to these things? Is there some sentimental value? I mean, we don't use them or do anything with them. And so we need to take a look at our lives and see what it is that we've got that may be a barrier for us, that's holding us back, that's taking up space, and not allowing us to bring something else in. Reverend Andrea gave a wonderful talk about this last month. And if you haven't had a chance to see it, I encourage you, especially those of you that visit our YouTube channel, to take a look at her talk on fasting. And you'll get some keys about what you can do and the types of things that you can do to help eliminate things from your life that don't work for you, why we need to fast, and what it does for you. But what I will say for you is that if you are not practicing this, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop eating, not physically, maybe with physical foods, but ask yourself, what things am I exposing myself to that I need to eliminate? Are you gossiping? Are you around people that are constantly crying poor mouth? Are you around people that are doing things with their bodies and with their environment that just are not healthy or conducive to the kind of life that you say that you want to live? Are we aligning ourselves in truth with what it is that we say that we desire? Or are we just playing lip service and saying, this is what I want, and then spending time visualizing it, but not really doing the work to do what we need to do? Now, visualization is very important, but if we're not following our visualization up with action and with real doing, it doesn't do anything for us more than perhaps give us a nice daydream. But we don't want daydreams. We want prosperous living. We want to live life abundantly every day in every way. And that requires us to do the things that we need to do the work, to eliminate those things from our lives that aren't working, so that we can make room for the things that are. And so that brings us to the next thing, which is rest. So I mentioned about our technology and our fast-paced life. And I'd have to ask all of you, how much rest are you getting? I think that for many of us, especially when I look at the ministers and I talk to the ministers, everybody's life is so hectic and we're so busy trying to keep up with everything that rest becomes something that we put on the back burner that we're going to do at some other time. And you even have some performers, I think it was Sean P. Diddy, that said, I'll rest when I'm dead, I'll rest when I'm in the grave. But that's not keeping up with the rhythm of life, because we think that rest means that we're being lazy and that we're not doing things. We have a scripture in Genesis 2:2 that says that God rested on this, that God created his work on the sixth day, completed his work on the sixth day, and on the seventh, he rested. And that God sanctified and blessed the seventh day because that's when he rested. It wasn't that God was tired or God was out of energy. It's that everything was done that needed to be done. And so God stopped work in the allegory, in the story, to let the process do what it needed to do. But if we're not taking the time out to rest, which means to cease activity, sometimes it means that we need to lay down and sleep, and other times it just means that we need to leave things alone. There is a rhythm to life. There is a rhythm to the universe. And when we align ourselves with that rhythm of life, with that rhythm of the universe, that is when we demonstrate health, and we demonstrate well-being, and we demonstrate flow in our lives, that things seem to flow effortlessly. But if we're constantly going and going and going, eventually the universe says, yo, it's time for you to take a break. And we'll find that we get sick. We'll find ourselves laid up in the hospital. Or we'll find with our finances that we can't pay our bills because we're constantly spending. Or with our relationships, just sometimes you need a break. I've been married to Reverend Sharon for almost 45 years, and I can tell you that there are times that we need a break from one another. And she's amening back here in the audience for those of you that can't hear. But, you know, we need to have a break sometimes that we set time aside for ourselves. You know, you're around other people, but you still are an individual. That where we need to have that connection, we also need to take time apart for us to connect with what's inside of us, with spirit, with the I am. And if you are not putting time in your life, making time, mapping it out as those big blocks of time, those big rocks that you need to schedule into your life for rest, at some point, if you don't choose rest, the universe is going to choose it for you. And it's going to do it at the most inopportune time that it's going to knock you down. That's the universe's way of saying, take a moment out, take a look at what you're doing, take a step back and connect with me. The purpose of rest is to help us rejuvenate and to reestablish for ourselves that which is natural in us. Your body knows how to heal itself, and it's during the times that we sleep or rest that your body rebuilds itself. But if we never give it the opportunity or don't give it enough time, then we start to feel depleted. We start to feel sick. We start to feel tired all the time. And you may find yourself drifting off at the most inopportune time. Driving behind the wheel, even just for a microsecond, can make the difference between you being able to avoid an accident and getting into one. Or it may make you have a short temper, that maybe things that people do with you or do to you or say to you, that you take it and blow it way out of proportion, that you get so irritable that every little thing bothers you, that if you just got enough rest, even if it was something that somebody meant to do to you, you wouldn't have to react that way, but rather you could choose your reaction to do something positive that's going to work for you. And so last I want to talk about healing, and I'm going to spend a bit more time with healing than I spent on the others to talk about it, because that really is, when we think about health, what brings us to health, this process of healing. So I'm going to go back to our anchor scripture and talk about how we are made in the image and likeness of God. God is spirit, not a big man up in the sky, not a physical person or personality, but rather God is love, God is principle, God is everything there is. God cannot be sick, and therefore as spiritual beings, neither can we. There is I don't want to say part of the Bible, but I guess a concept. We talk about the names of God. One of them is Yahweh Rapha, which means God heals. And I think I've got a slide here that I want to bring up if I can find it. And I don't have it, so I'm going to go through it with you. When we talk about Yahweh Rapha, when you look in the Bible, you'll see the word, instead of Yahweh, the Lord. The Lord heals. If you notice, especially in the Old Testament, the Lord is in all caps. That is a substitute for the name of God, which is supposed to be so sacred that people don't say it out loud or don't overuse it and abuse it. Now, in New Thought, we will take that word, the Lord, because God told us when he was talking to Moses with the burning bush, who are you? Tell them that I am sent you. We know that I am is our divine name. And so if the Lord is health and the Lord is I am, then I am health is us talking about ourselves and connecting with that divine spark within us that is God, that is the Christ consciousness that dwells in each of us. That connection that you are living truth, that you can connect to health at any time, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on, that you turn to God, you turn to spirit, turn to what's already inside of you, and listen to that small, still voice tell you what it is that you need to do. When I was writing this, it made me think about an old song from the Stylistics. And I'm not going to try to sing it because I don't have the skills that Reverend Chantel has. But they say, stop, look, listen to your heart, hear what it's saying. Stop, look, listen to your heart, hear what it's saying. And when you get still and take a look at spirit and listen, look at your life and listen to what's going on, what spirit is giving to you, your heart, your subconscious mind will tell you what to do, what you need to do in order to clear up the issues in your life. And so as we go through this process of healing, if we eat a proper diet, if we get exercise, we get proper rest, and we fast, these all work together for us to remove the barriers to our lives for healing. And so some of the barriers that we need to take a look at are barriers of not so much what we've got going on around us, but what we've got going on inside of us. I mentioned a little bit earlier about people having this idea of sin, and that sin was going to be something that was going to make them go to hell and burn for all eternity. Now, it may surprise some of you to know that the concept of sin that we have nowadays is very different than they had when the Bible was written over 2,000 or 5,000 years ago, depending on whether you're talking about Old Testament or New Testament. For the Hebrews, for the Jews, sin meant that you broke the Jewish law. So the way that I was raised in a fire-baptized holiness church, which is an offshoot of Pentecostalism. I was taught that it was a sin for men to have long hair, or that if you dressed a certain way, that was a sin. And of course, smoking cigarettes or any kind of drugs was a sin. Shooting pool or playing cards was a sin. And any of these things could get you damned to hell for all eternity. Now, I don't believe that now, but I do believe that there are things that we do that contribute to a life that's not right for us that are quote-unquote sins. And I'm going to put on the screen some barriers to healing which we could consider sins if we're going to consider them. At the root of it all, a sin is anything that separates you from your connection with spirit. It's anything that says to you or makes you say, the Father and I are one, or makes you not say that the Father and I are one. And some of these barriers are going to be things like worrying, resentfulness, unforgiveness, resentment. All these things that block us from recognizing our oneness with those around us, from expressing love and from being loved. Those things that keep us from exercising our faith. Because when we exercise our faith, when we express His love, we don't have to do all these things. We can let go of unforgiveness. We can let go of resentments. You know, there are some of us, you can remember what happened 35 years ago on a day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon about what a brother, a sister, your mother, or somebody said to you that hurt your feelings. And that person's moved on from whatever it is happening, but you're holding on to that. And it's affecting your life in some sort of way. And it may not be affecting you physically, but it could be affecting your relationships. It could be affecting the way that you're able to respond to things emotionally and mentally, and what it is that you think that you're able to do. And so as we work on fasting and releasing from our consciousness these things that block us, that are barriers to our health, we can experience the health that we desire. You know, I heard one of our members say earlier, I think it was last month, that health is wealth. And it's when you have your health that you can experience wealth and do the things that you need to do, because health is something that money really can't buy. And so I'd like to leave you with something that is from the prayer of faith that I think really works with what it is that we're talking about and what it is that we're trying to do. It is an affirmation for us to remind ourselves of our divine oneness with Spirit. It reads, God is my health. I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Living Truth family, be the divine spiritual beings that you are. Be health. Know that you are health. In everything that you do, you are an individualized expression of God. Live the truth that you know and be living truth. And so it is.
Ooh, feel healthier already just listening. Got healthier just by listening. Man, once again, thank you so much, Reverend Terry. That was an amazing masterclass in our holistic health journey. And that's one thing we got to start doing, y'all. Start taking your health serious. You only get one body. Well, some of us, all right? All right, so we got a few announcements. Dr. Rocco is actually going to be here on the 24th. That's a few Sundays from now. We're going to go ahead and get into our gift of circulation. All right, so we have a few ways that you can give. Our main way of giving, my favorite way, is through Cash App, which I'm going to give you the handle in a minute. But if you want to do tithely, we have the instructions up here for you right now. You can text GIVE to 470-243-2191. Wait for the text reply, click the link, and create an account. Also, like I said, Cash App is available as well. That is $LT365. I'll give everybody a second to put it together. All right, so we're going to do our gift of circulation affirmation. We're going to say this 3 times. There is no lack or limitation. There is only infinite abundance. And through my giving, I tap into the infinite flow, and I am one with it. There is no lack or limitation. There is only infinite abundance. And through my giving, I tap into the infinite flow, and I am one with it. There is no lack or limitation. There's only infinite abundance, and through my giving, I tap into the infinite flow, and I am one with it. All right, now all together, 3 times. I am tapping infinite prosperity and sharing. I am tapping infinite prosperity and sharing. I am tapping infinite prosperity and sharing. So it is. So it is. All right, so as far as announcements, we have a few more. Moments in Meditation. It is off of hiatus. It is back and it is in full effect. This is every Thursday night at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Make sure you log on. Take a moment for yourself. Take a moment for your week. Also, Dr. Rocco, the Noor Foundation is still going strong. The Aramaic School of Light is every second Saturday of each month from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, $30 per class. And then he does an online class every Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 with a love offering. To register, Noor Foundation at mail.com or call toll-free 1-888-992-8161 or locally 678-945-4006. All right, breaking barriers. We are continuing on our theme for 2024. We are breaking barriers. I hope that the barriers are being broken in your life, or the thought of the barrier is coming up so that you know you need to break it. And then every Friday we do a breakthrough call at 7 a.m. We just check in with each other, make sure that everyone's journey is going in alignment with breaking barriers, and then we know sometimes there may be challenges to that, so we want to make sure we're there for each other on Friday mornings. Also, we're talking about releasing things. Release what no longer serves you. We're taking donations for old cell phones, tablets, laptops. Feel free to bring them to Living Truth or get in touch with us, and we can coordinate to get them to the right location. Monday night class is Reverend Jocelyn Kimbrough. Principles of New Thought class is every Monday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. via Zoom. They've had one class, I believe, but it's still not too late to get on. So, the movies. I haven't been to the movies in a while, but they say this one is worth it. This one is definitely worth it. The Ava DuVernay origin movie, we're having a discussion next Sunday. That's what we will be doing for service. We will have an open discussion on the film Origin. It is still Lenten season. Not Lent, Lenten. It is Lenten season. So we give you faith, encouragement that you can stay on your journey. And like I said, we have these Friday calls. So if anybody's struggling, anybody having challenges, feel free to call in on Friday. Let's talk about it. Oh, okay. Why are we still sick? Going in continuation with what Reverend Terry talked about today, we are inviting Reverend Sandy Rogers to come, and we are inviting you to come and sit with her as she has a conversation on healthy living, good nutrition, and spirituality, and how all of those things work together. So we look forward to you signing up. The cost is $10. It's the 9th, which is this Friday, right? This Saturday. This Saturday at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Also, don't forget, it's daylight savings time. The sun has started going down on time. Man, I'm telling you, it was just getting dark, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like, what's going on? So daylight savings time is March 12th, March 10th. Make sure you move your clocks forward. Also, as Reverend Terry alluded to, we are donating our time, energy, resources to the Les Garden Pancreatic Research Walk. That will be Sunday, March 17th. We won't have service. We will donate our time, energy, and volunteer efforts over there. That's located on Porsche Drive, the Porsche headquarters. And our goal is to raise $1,000. So definitely, if you can give your time, energy, resources, this is a wonderful cause, and we look forward to sharing that cause with you. Oh, no service that day. So we will be walking at the Les Garden that day. Spyland. Saturday, March 23rd, we are taking care of us. So join us for a day of self-care at Spyland. That is located in Duluth, 2645 North Berkeley Lake Road. Feel free to come and fellowship with us as we take care of ourselves. Also, we have a recipe book. Send in your favorite recipes. We are compiling an online recipe book, so we would love to get your recipes, and there will still be a vetting process. So feel free to send it in. But we gotta, the pig feet recipe, Nana pig feet. We're gonna work on it. And then also, in the spirit of donating, we're collecting old eyewear. So glasses, not contacts though, right? I don't think we need nobody contacts. Yeah, hold on to those. So bless yourself and someone else. Release what no longer is serving you, and donate your old glasses. Also, get your Reverend T. Reverend Terry, I think you had a barrier free. Yes, sir. That's Kafani. We have the ability to make our own wardrobe. And one of the ways we do that is by getting in touch with Kafani Studios. We have already pre-made stuff, but you can also customize some things that you want to be a certain way as well. We have a website, y'all. The website is up. It's there. It never turns off. livingtruth365.org. And then I'd like to invite Reverend Terry to close us out.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. So as we're closing out, I want you to remember and to be aware of the different events that we've got going on this month that are going to help you to recognize and express health in all areas of your life. That's the mental, the emotional, the financial, what am I missing? Relationships, and physical. So as we close out, let's take a look at our 2024 barrier-breaking affirmation, because at the end of the day, it's the barriers that we put up that are blocking us from experiencing and expressing the health that we truly are. And so let's affirm this together with, and I'm going to ask the people here to stand, and let's affirm this with power. There are no barriers in God. Therefore, there can be no barriers in me. There are no barriers in God. Therefore, there can be no barriers in me. There are no barriers in God. Therefore, there are no barriers in me. Living Truth family, thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week. Peace and abundant blessings.